Love is often painted in bold colors, grand gestures, dramatic declarations, and picture-perfect moments designed for the spotlight. But real love, the kind that sustains and reassures, is rarely so loud. It often reveals itself in the quieter spaces, the moments no one else notices, the gestures that don't need an audience. That's the difference between someone who simply says you matter and someone who proves it in ways so subtle yet so powerful that they linger with you long after the moment has passed. When a man truly loves you, you don't need to constantly ask, "Am I important to him?" Because the answer is woven into his actions. It's in how he listens when you speak, not with distracted glances or half-hearted nods, but with full attention, as if your words hold the weight of the world. It's in how he remembers the little things about you, the way you like your coffee, the childhood story that made you laugh, the detail you thought no one noticed. These quiet details are his way of saying, "I see you. I remember you. You matter to me." Being someone's priority doesn't always mean they'll drop everything with a dramatic flourish. Instead, it means they'll quietly adjust their schedule so you never feel like you're squeezed into the margins of their life. It means your comfort comes first, not through speeches but through thoughtful actions. The jacket draped over your shoulders. The car door opened without a second thought. The way they make space for your peace in a noisy world. And when you achieve something, whether it's monumental or small, he doesn't compete or try to overshadow you. Instead, he celebrates you quietly, with pride that feels more intimate than any applause. He checks in not because he has to, but because he wants to. He defends you in rooms where you're not present, carrying your name with honor and respect. He asks for your opinion in decisions, not because he's incapable, but because he values your voice as much as his own. Love is in the way he talks about the future, and always places you in it, not as an afterthought but as the heart of his plans. It's in how he notices your moods before you can even name them yourself, and how he puts effort into the smallest things, those everyday choices that whisper, "I was thinking of you." And most of all, love is in the way he makes you feel safe without needing to say a word. His presence is a shield, his silence a reassurance, his consistency a quiet promise. These aren't grand displays or dramatic confessions, but they are the strongest proof of all. Because when someone makes you their true priority, you don't just hear it, you feel it in every small, unspoken moment. He listens without interrupting. He listens without interrupting. And that simple act can transform how you feel in a relationship. When you're talking, he doesn't rush to finish your sentences or jump in with his own thoughts. Instead, he gives you space to let every word out, as if your voice matters more than anything else at that moment. You notice the way his eyes stay on you, steady and patient, without darting toward his phone or wandering to the television. His silence isn't empty. It's full of presence. It's the kind of silence that feels like a shelter, letting you know your feelings are safe here. In a world where people often talk over one another, his quiet attention becomes rare and precious. It shows he values not just what you're saying, but who you are. Every pause, every hesitation, every tear or laugh that slips out is met with understanding rather than interruption. It's not about him waiting for his turn. It's about him making sure you have yours. When you share your struggles, he doesn't cut in with advice you didn't ask for. When you celebrate a win, he doesn't steal the moment with a bigger story of his own. Instead, he gives you the full stage, and in doing so, he proves that your experiences are worthy of being heard. This quiet way of listening is how he makes you feel like a true priority. You feel safe enough to speak your truth without fear of being dismissed. You feel respected enough to believe that your words carry weight. And over time, you realize that it's not grand gestures or dramatic declarations that build trust. It's this steady, consistent willingness to hear you out. You don't just feel heard, you feel understood. And in his silence, you find the loudest proof that you matter. He remembers the small details. He remembers the small details, and those little acts reveal far more than grand gestures ever could. When you mention your favorite coffee order in passing, weeks later he surprises you with it without you ever reminding him. When you talk about a book you loved as a child, he notes it quietly, and one day you find it on your bedside table. These aren't random coincidences. They're signs that he pays attention to your world, even to the things you may have forgotten you shared. Most people listen to respond, but he listens to remember. He holds on to the little threads of your stories and weaves them back into your daily life. If you mention that you had a tough exam coming up, he texts you a good luck message right before it begins. If you casually share that daisies make you smile, He brings them home instead of roses because he knows that matters more to you. It's not about extravagance, it's about thoughtfulness. And thoughtfulness, in its quiet way, speaks of love deeper than words. The beauty of this habit is that it makes you feel seen. When he remembers the small things, he's essentially saying, I was listening. You matter. Your words don't disappear into the air with me. It builds a trust that no amount of speeches could ever create. You don't have to remind him of your birthday, the way you take your tea, or the song that always makes you cry. He carries those details with him, showing you through actions that you're always in his mind. These small details become his language of care. They reassure you that he's not just present in the moment, but invested in who you are beyond it. And that consistency, that quiet remembering, is what makes you feel like more than just a part of his life. You feel like a priority written into every corner of it. He adjusts his schedule for you. He adjusts his schedule for you, and that quiet sacrifice speaks volumes about where you stand in his life. Time is the one thing no one can get back, so when he bends his busy day to fit you in, he's showing you that you're worth rearranging everything else for. It's not always about dramatic cancellations or grand gestures. It's about the subtle ways he makes room for you, even when his calendar is already packed. You notice it in small but powerful choices. He leaves work a little earlier to walk you home, even though it means finishing his emails late at night. He shifts his gym routine because you mentioned wanting to grab dinner together. He reschedules meetings or errands so that he can sit by your side at a doctor's appointment, not because he has to, but because he wants to. These adjustments might look ordinary on the surface, but in reality, they're profound expressions of care. What makes it so meaningful is the message behind it. You are not squeezed into the leftover spaces of his life. Instead, he makes sure you have a place at the center. He doesn't treat your presence as optional or secondary. Every time he changes his plans for you, he's proving that your needs, your happiness, your comfort matter enough to shift his own rhythm. And he does it without complaints, without making you feel like a burden, but with a kind of quiet pride that he gets to be there for you. Over time, these gestures add up. You begin to realize that his love isn't measured in expensive gifts or flashy words, but in hours and minutes willingly given. In a world where everyone claims to be too busy, his willingness to adjust his schedule whispers the truth. You are never an afterthought. You are the priority he chooses, day after day, even when it costs him convenience. That kind of choice is love in its purest form. He puts your comfort first, he puts your comfort first, and it shows in the smallest moments that often go unnoticed by others. When you're walking together, he instinctively shifts to the side of the street closer to traffic, placing himself between you and danger. If you're cold, he doesn't just offer his jacket. He drapes it around your shoulders before you even ask. When the room feels too loud or overwhelming, he quietly finds a quieter corner so you can breathe easier. These gestures aren't loud or showy, but they create an invisible shield around you, a sense that your peace and well-being are always on his mind. You see it when he notices the tiny details of your comfort. If he knows you hate crowded restaurants, he books a table in advance or chooses a quieter place. If you've had a long day, he dims the lights, makes tea, and tells you to rest while he takes care of the small chores. When you travel together, he checks the seat temperature in the car, adjusts the music to your liking, or carries the heavier bags without being asked. These actions may seem ordinary, but together they build an unspoken language of care. What makes it powerful is how natural it feels. He doesn't make you feel guilty or indebted for his effort. He does it with ease, as though your comfort is second nature to him. He's not trying to prove anything. He simply wants you to feel safe, warm, and cared for. That selflessness is rare in a world where many people only think of their own needs first. Over time, you realize this is one of the purest ways love reveals itself. It's not just about saying, I love you, but about showing it in moments when you least expect it. His quiet priority is your comfort, and with every thoughtful action, he reassures you that you are not just someone in his life, you are the heart he protects, gently and consistently, in ways that words could never capture. He celebrates your wins quietly. He celebrates your wins quietly. And in those moments, you feel the depth of his pride without the need for loud applause. When you achieve something, big or small, he doesn't rush to overshadow it with his own stories or turn the spotlight back on himself. Instead, he gives the stage entirely to you, letting your achievement shine. His smile, The way his eyes soften with pride, the way he says, "I knew you could do it," carries more weight than a crowded room of clapping hands ever could. You notice it in the little gestures. If you land a new job, he surprises you with your favorite meal instead of posting about it online for attention. If you finish a project you've worked hard on, he listens as you share every detail, soaking it in like your success belongs to him too. He doesn't need to announce it to the world because his joy isn't about appearances. It's about you. His celebration is private, thoughtful, and genuine, tailored to the things that make you feel truly valued. These quiet celebrations build a sense of intimacy. They show you that he doesn't love you for how others see you, but for who you are and what matters most to you. He honors your victories not because they make him look good, but because they make you feel proud and strong. Even the smallest achievements, like cooking a meal perfectly, overcoming a fear, or reaching a personal goal, become moments he treasures right alongside you. The beauty of his quiet celebration is that it teaches you something profound. Love doesn't always need an audience. Sometimes it's found in the stillness of two people sharing a moment that belongs only to them. And in that quiet pride, you see the truth. He isn't just with you when life feels heavy. He's also there, steady and present when life hands you joy. His silence in those moments is louder than any cheers, reminding you that your happiness will always be his victory too. He checks in without a reason. He checks in without a reason. And that simple act shows how deeply you live in his thoughts. It's not about scheduled conversations or obligatory calls. It's about those unexpected moments when your phone lights up with his name and a short, gentle message. A simple, "How are you feeling today?" or "Did you eat yet?" may not seem extraordinary, but behind it lies the truth. He doesn't need an occasion to think of you. You are already a part of his everyday rhythm. These check-ins carry a quiet kind of love. He notices when you've been quieter than usual and reaches out just to make sure you're okay. He remembers the stressful meeting you mentioned earlier and texts afterward, asking how it went. Sometimes it's just a funny meme he sends because he knows it'll make you laugh. Other times, it's nothing more than, "I miss you." The beauty is that it's never forced. He doesn't wait for a problem or a reason to care. He shows up in the small spaces between life's big events. What makes it meaningful is how consistent it is. He doesn't only check in during the good times, nor does he vanish when things get tough. His presence is steady, a quiet reassurance that even on the most ordinary days, you're not walking through life unnoticed. It builds a sense of security, reminding you that no matter where you are or what you're doing, someone is holding you in their mind and heart. This habit proves that love doesn't live only in grand gestures. It lives in the quiet taps on a phone screen, in the voice that calls just to say hello, in the thoughtful messages that arrive when you least expect them. By checking in without a reason, he sends the clearest message of all. Your well-being is reason enough. And that truth makes you feel like more than a priority. You feel like home to him. He defends you when you're not around. He defends you when you're not around. And that reveals a depth of loyalty that words alone can't capture. It's easy to stand beside someone publicly, but the real test comes when you're absent, when your name is mentioned in rooms you can't enter, when people voice their doubts, or when subtle criticisms slip into conversations. In those moments, he chooses not silence, not neutrality, but protection. Without hesitation, he speaks up, setting boundaries with respect and strength, making it clear that your dignity matters even when you're not there to witness it. You see the proof in the way people speak differently about you around him. They know he won't entertain careless jokes or unfair remarks. If someone downplays your achievements, he reminds them of your hard work. If anyone tries to diminish your worth, he shuts it down firmly, yet without drama. He doesn't defend you to earn praise. He does it because, to him, loyalty isn't optional. It's the very core of love. What makes this so powerful is the trust it builds. You don't have to wonder what's being said about you when you're not present, because you know he carries your name with honor. You don't have to fear that he'll stay silent to keep the peace. His quiet strength ensures that your reputation, your heart, your truth are guarded with care. And when he later tells you about it, not boastfully but casually, you realize he wasn't doing it for recognition. He was doing it because, to him, defending you is as natural as breathing. Over time, this creates an unshakable bond. It tells you that love isn't just what happens between two people. It's also how one person protects the other in the wider world. He doesn't let others rewrite your story or question your worth. And even though you may never hear every word he speaks in your defense, you feel the safety of it every day. The quiet assurance that you are not only loved, but fiercely protected, even in your absence. He values your opinions and decisions. He values your opinions and decisions. And that quiet act shows you're not just a part of his life, you're a partner in it. When choices come up, whether small or life-changing, he doesn't move ahead without asking what you think. It could be as simple as where to eat dinner, or as significant as considering a career move, but the pattern stays the same. Your voice matters. He doesn't treat your input as an afterthought. He treats it as essential, as if the decision isn't complete until your perspective has been heard. You notice it in the way he asks questions. What do you think? Isn't just a polite phrase. He waits for your answer, really listening to the weight behind your words. If you have concerns, he doesn't dismiss them with a shrug. If you offer ideas, he genuinely considers them, weaving them into the choices he makes. Even when he already has a plan in mind, he pauses to check in with you first, not because he doubts himself, but because he respects the bond you share. This isn't about control. It's about respect. He knows that decisions don't just affect him, they affect you too. By valuing your opinions, he shows that your happiness and peace of mind are just as important as his own. He doesn't need to agree with you every time, but he makes sure your thoughts shape the outcome. That balance creates trust, reminding you that you're not walking beside someone who only thinks of himself. You're walking beside someone who sees you as an equal. The beauty of this habit is how it strengthens the foundation of the relationship. It proves that love isn't only about emotions. It's also about collaboration, compromise, and respect. Each time he invites your perspective, he reinforces the truth. You are not just part of his life, you are central to it. And in every shared decision, big or small, you feel not just included, but deeply valued. He shares his future plans. With you, he shares his future plans with you. And in that simple act, you feel the weight of his commitment. When he talks about tomorrow, next month, or even years ahead, your name is always woven into the picture. It's not just about vague dreams or abstract hopes. He makes space for you in the details. Whether he's talking about buying a house, traveling the world, or even what his weekends will look like, he includes you naturally, as if your presence in his future is already certain. You notice it in casual conversations. He doesn't just say, "I want to visit Italy someday." He says, "When we go to Italy, we'll try that pasta place you mentioned." It's not my future, it's our future. That shift in language might seem small, but it reveals a powerful truth. He doesn't see his life unfolding without you in it. He's not asking you to guess or hope. You can hear your place in his plans with clarity. These moments are more than romantic gestures. They're quiet promises. When he talks about financial goals, career steps, or family dreams, he includes your perspective, making sure the path he imagines aligns with what you want too. He isn't building a future alone and expecting you to adapt. He's building a shared vision, one brick at a time, with your voice alongside his. What makes this so meaningful is how steady it feels. He doesn't use the future as empty words to keep you close. He gives it substance by planning with you in mind. Each plan becomes another reassurance that you're not just part of his present, but also his tomorrow. And in those conversations, whether whispered late at night or spoken over morning coffee, you feel a quiet kind of security. It's the knowledge that you're not a temporary chapter in his story. You are, and always will be, part of the ending he's already writing with you in it. 10. He notices your moods instantly. He notices your moods instantly, often before you even realize you're carrying them. It's in the way his eyes search your face the moment you walk into the room, catching the smallest shift in your expression. You don't have to explain that something feels off. He already senses it in the way you move, in the silence between your words, in the weight of your sighs. His attention is tuned so closely to you that your emotions ripple through him like waves, and he responds without hesitation, without judgment. When you're happy, he notices the sparkle in your laugh and leans into it, fueling your joy by sharing in it fully. When you're heavy-hearted, he feels it immediately, softening his tone, offering comfort before you ask. If you've had a long day, he doesn't need you to spell it out. He'll draw you closer, put on your favorite show, or make sure you have space to breathe. Sometimes he doesn't even need words. His quiet presence, a hand on your back, or the way he lingers by your side tells you he's there for you. Whatever the mood, this awareness shows more than empathy. It shows devotion. It means he studies you not out of obligation, but out of genuine care. He wants to know the language of your emotions so deeply that he can answer them without waiting for you to translate. That kind of attentiveness makes you feel profoundly understood, as though you never have to fight alone against what you're feeling. Over time, this becomes one of the strongest forms of love you recognize. It's not about him fixing everything or pretending he has all the answers. It's about him seeing you clearly, even in the moments you'd rather hide. He notices your moods instantly because your well-being matters to him more than his own comfort. And in that instinctive response, you feel something rare and unshakable. The quiet certainty that your heart has found someone who will always notice, always care, and always stay. He puts effort into little things. He puts effort into little things. And it's in those small, consistent gestures that his love shines the brightest. He doesn't wait for anniversaries, birthdays, or big milestones to show you how much you mean to him. Instead, he fills ordinary days with thoughtful details that make you feel special without fanfare. Maybe he leaves a note on the counter before work. Just a few words to remind you that you're loved. Maybe he remembers to bring your favorite snack when he's out, or adjust the blanket around you when you've fallen asleep on the couch. These acts aren't grand, but they're steady, and they remind you that you are always on his mind. The effort shows in how intentional he is. He notices what makes you smile and repeats it, not because he has to, but because he loves the way it lights up your face. He pays attention to what matters to you, even something as simple as how you take your coffee or the songs you hum in the car. He turns those observations into actions, proving through the smallest details that you are never overlooked. Every gesture, no matter how small, becomes a thread that weaves into a larger fabric of care. What makes these little efforts so powerful is how natural they feel. He doesn't do them for recognition or to keep score. He does them because your happiness is part of his daily routine. Over time, you realize it's not the flowers on Valentine's Day that move you most, but the way he remembers to check the car tire pressure before you drive, or how he keeps your favorite blanket folded neatly on the chair. These quiet acts whisper the truth that his love is lived, not just spoken. In the end, his effort in the little things creates something lasting. It tells you that your relationship isn't built on occasional fireworks, but on steady warmth. And it's in those ordinary moments, repeated day after day, that you see the extraordinary truth. You are not just loved, you are cherished in ways big and small, every single day. He makes you feel safe without words. He makes you feel safe without words. And that kind of protection is felt more deeply than anything spoken. When he's around, there's a quiet calm that settles over you, as though the world's weight lightens just a little. You don't need him to promise, "I'll keep you safe," because his actions say it louder than language ever could. It's in the way he notices your unease in a crowded room and subtly moves closer, creating a barrier that shields you without making a scene. It's in how he walks beside you at night, his presence steady and unshakable, letting you know you're never alone. You feel it in the small gestures, the unspoken signals of care. His hand reaching for yours when anxiety rises, the way his tone softens when you're overwhelmed, the instinct to check the locks before bed because he knows it helps you sleep better. These aren't dramatic acts of heroism. They're quiet layers of safety woven into everyday life. He anticipates what makes you feel at ease and removes the weight before you have to ask. That attentiveness doesn't come from duty. It comes from love. The most powerful part of this safety is how emotional it feels. It's not just about protecting your body from harm. It's about protecting your heart. With him, you don't have to fear judgment when you show your weaknesses. You don't have to wear a mask or guard your words. His silence holds space for your truths, no matter how fragile or messy they are. In his presence, you're allowed to be vulnerable without fear of rejection. Over time, this becomes one of the clearest signs that you're his priority. Because safety isn't about control, it's about freedom. The freedom to breathe, to rest, to exist fully as yourself. Without needing to say a word, he gives you that gift every day. And in those unspoken moments, you realize something unshakable. Love doesn't need declarations to prove itself. Sometimes the strongest proof is the quiet certainty that with him, you are already home.